What if I told you your brain is addicted? And it's not your fault. You're not lazy, you're not broken, you're just drowning in cheap dopamine. Scrolling, binging, swiping every single day, you're training your brain to avoid real effort and crave instant pleasure instead. But here's the scary part. The more dopamine you chase, the weaker your willpower becomes. This book claims you can reset your brain in just 48 hours. But can we really detox from dopamine? Today we break down the truth, chapter by chapter. Welcome to Dopamine Detox. Let's begin. Hello everyone and welcome.
Welcome to BookPodCastZone. I'm your host, Emma.
Yeah, I'm John.
It's great to be here digging into this with you.
Absolutely. And with me today is John, our expert guide, ready to help us unpack these complex ideas and, connect the dots in a way that really sticks with you.
That's the plan.
Today we're diving deep into Thibaut Meurisse's book, Dopamine Detox, Master Focus and Motivation. It's a really insightful read.
It really is. Hits on a lot of timely issues.
Right. So our mission is pretty straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
We want to understand how all these modern distractions, the constant pings, the endless feeds, how they impact our brains.
And crucially, whether this whole dopamine detox idea is actually, possible and helpful.
Exactly. Is it really something you, our listener, can do? We want to give you the most important insights quickly and effectively so you can maybe navigate this crazy hyper-connected world a little better.
Let's get into it.
Okay, kicking us off, let's jump straight into chapter 1. Meurisse starts by tackling this really common idea about dopamine. We always hear it called the pleasure chemical, right?
Right. That's the popular understanding, just pure pleasure.
But Meurisse argues that's not quite the whole story, is it? What's his take on its real role?
Yeah, he challenges that right out of the gate, and it's a really critical distinction. He says dopamine isn't primarily about the feeling of pleasure itself.
Okay. So what is it then?
It's much more about motivation. It's the anticipation of reward. Think of it as the brain's seeking neurotransmitter. It's what drives us to, pursue goals, explore, find things we need.
So it's the wanting, not the having.
Pretty much. It's the engine that gets us moving. And the problem, as Meurisse explains it, is that our modern world is just saturated with things that hijack this system.
Hijack how?
Well, think about social media notifications, streaming services suggesting the next video, endless online shops. They all offer these constant, tiny, immediate hits of dopamine.
Right, the little buzz from a like or a new email.
Exactly. So we get stuck in this loop of seeking these small, easy rewards. It scatters our focus, and it actually makes it harder to motivate ourselves for, bigger, more meaningful things that take real effort.
That makes sense. So understanding it's about motivation, not just pleasure, is kind of the key to getting back control.
That's foundational, yeah. If you understand what's driving the behavior, you have a better chance of changing it.
And this isn't just like Meurisse's opinion, right? Does he connect it to how our brains actually evolve?
Oh, absolutely. He brings in the evolutionary context really well. This dopamine system wasn't designed for Twitter notifications, obviously.
Oh, no kidding.
It evolved to motivate early humans to do things essential for survival. Hunting, gathering food, finding shelter, finding mates, activities that required sustained effort for a potentially big payoff.
So that ancient wiring is still running the show.
It is, and what's compelling is that he backs this up with current science.
Yeah.
He points to recent neuroscience, like there was a 2023 study in Nature that really reinforced this idea that dopamine is strongly linked to motivation, the drive, separate from the actual feeling of pleasure.
Wow. So it's biology, not just willpower.
It's deeply biological, which explains why it feels so hard to resist sometimes.
Yeah, that distinction really clicks. It shows how easily tech can, exploit our basic programming. I heard about this freelance writer in Brooklyn, actually, back in 2025.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she's really struggling. Said she felt like every notification on her phone was basically derailing her entire workday. Couldn't get into that deep focus state.
I bet. It's a common story.
So, inspired by these ideas, she tried just silencing her phone completely during her main writing blogs, like putting it in another room even.
Bold move for a freelancer.
Right. But she said after just a week, she tracked her output using her project management app, and she noticed about a 30% jump in productivity.
Wow. That's significant.
Yeah. And she said it wasn't just about getting more done, but feeling, calmer and more in control of her attention span.
That feeling of control is huge.
Definitely. So what does this all mean for you listening right now? Think about your own day. Can you pinpoint one activity, maybe something you do almost automatically that constantly pulls your focus?
Yeah, maybe it's checking Instagram every 10 minutes. Or refreshing your email inbox even when you're not expecting anything important.
Exactly. Take a second to just notice what your main dopamine trigger might be. Identifying it, like you said, is that crucial first step.
It really is awareness first.
So if you're finding this deep dive valuable, and we hope you are, remember to like, subscribe, and share so you don't miss future updates.
Yeah, help us spread the word.
Okay, now let's unpack the next layer. The consequences of chasing all this cheap dopamine all the time. Chapter 2 gets into the problem of overstimulation.
Right, this is where we see the downside stacking up.
Meurisse really focuses here on the negative effects of being constantly plugged into these high dopamine activities. It's not just feeling a bit distracted, is it?
No, not at all. He argues it leads to some pretty serious issues. We're talking chronic procrastination, a real sense of restlessness, like you can't just sit still or be quiet.
That feeling of needing something to do, even if it's just scrolling.
Exactly that. And a significant, measurable drop in your ability to maintain focus on tasks that require concentration. The symptoms he describes are probably familiar to a lot of people.
Like what?
Like that constant craving for another quick hit, refreshing the feed, checking for likes, clicking the next recommended video. It's almost like an itch you constantly need to scratch.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
And he stresses the importance of self-assessment here because these habits can creep up on us, you know? We might not even realize how much these little dopamine loops are running our day and affecting our ability to focus or even just relax properly.
And it feels like this whole problem has just exploded because these platforms, these apps, they're designed to do this, right? It's not accidental.
Oh, absolutely not accidental. Meurisse gives that historical context, pointing out how digital platforms, especially from the 2010s onward, were engineered very deliberately.
Engineered how?
They use principles of behavioral psychology to maximize engagement. They know exactly how to tap into our dopamine reward system, variable rewards, notifications, endless scrolling. It's all designed to keep you hooked.
Wow. It's kind of manipulative when you think about it.
It can be, yeah. And he cites research to show the scale of the impact. For instance, a 2024 study in the Journal of Behavioral Addiction found that something like 65% of young adults reported their social media use was causing them significant focus problems.
Just 65%. That's huge.
It's a massive number. It really illustrates that this isn't just a few people struggling. It's a widespread challenge, especially for younger generations who grew up with this tech.
That is sobering.
Yeah.
And you see it play out. I remember reading about a college student. This was in New York City, spring 2025.
Okay.
She realized her late-night TikTok binges weren't just, killing time. They were actively messing with her sleep and making it impossible to focus on her studies the next day. She saw it as this dopamine trap.
Makes sense. The short videos are potent.
Totally.
Yeah.
So she decided to try using an app blocker, cut her TikTok time by half. And she said the difference was really noticeable. She could actually sit down and read her textbooks without feeling that constant urge to pick up her phone.
Did it help her grades?
Yeah, she reported her GPA went up by 0.5 point that semester, which is pretty significant.
That's a tangible result right there.
Yeah.
Less TikTok, better grades.
Exactly. So here's where it gets really interesting for you. When do you feel that restless urge, that almost impulsive need to check your phone or click on something new?
Maybe it happens when you're trying to read a book. Or even when you're just sitting in silence for a few minutes.
Yeah. What's one sign of overstimulation that you've noticed in yourself? Just becoming aware of it, acknowledging that feeling, is a really powerful starting point.
Absolutely. Notice the trigger. Notice the feeling.
Okay, if you're getting value here, please remember to like, subscribe, and share for more updates. It really helps us out.
Please do.
All right, let's shift gears a bit. We've talked about the problem. Now let's talk solutions. Chapter 3 focuses on the benefits of doing a dopamine detox. What happens when you actually pull back?
This is the hopeful part, right? After outlining the problem, Meurisse shows us what's possible on the other side. And the benefits he describes are pretty compelling.
Like what specifically?
He zeroes in on 3 main things. First, a big reduction in that feeling of sensory overload, just feeling less frazzled. Second, a noticeable sharpening of focus, being able to concentrate more deeply and for longer.
Okay, less overload, better focus.
Yeah.
What's the third?
A boost in what he calls intrinsic motivation. And this is key.
Intrinsic motivation.
Yeah.
Meaning finding motivation from within.
Exactly. The idea is when you cut out all those easy, high dopamine distractions, You effectively reset your brain's reward circuitry. It's like turning down the constant background noise.
So your brain isn't expecting those constant easy hits anymore.
Right. And what happens then is that activities that require a bit more effort, things that are naturally lower stimulation, like reading a physical book, having a deep conversation, working on a creative project, or even just tackling a difficult task at work,
Yeah.
they start to feel naturally more engaging and rewarding again. Your brain rediscovers the satisfaction that comes from sustained effort and genuine accomplishment, not just the quick fix.
That makes so much sense. It's like your brain's baseline for rewarding gets recalibrated. You start appreciating the quieter stuff more.
Precisely. You're not desensitized by the constant highs anymore.
And this idea of stepping back from stimulation, it's not exactly new, is it? Does he connect it to older traditions?
He does, yeah. He points out that this isn't some brand new invention. He draws parallels to mindfulness practices found in traditions like Buddhism, which have, for centuries emphasized reducing external stimuli to cultivate inner calm and clarity.
So it's like ancient wisdom adapted for the digital age.
Very much so. And he also connects it to modern findings. He mentions, I think it was a 2024 Psychology Today article, which reported that people who intentionally reduced their digital stimuli saw about a 40% increase in their engagement with tasks. They felt more in the zone.
40% increase in engagement. Wow, that shows a direct link.
Yeah, it demonstrates how much our external environment impacts our internal state of focus and satisfaction.
That blend of old wisdom and new science is really powerful. And you hear about people experiencing this. There was this tech worker in San Francisco, again, around 2025.
Okay, tech worker in SF, prime candidate for digital overload.
Totally. He decided to try a full 24-hour digital detox. No social media, no streaming, no news websites, nothing for a whole day.
Cold turkey. How did it go?
He said it was tough at first, felt really antsy. But by the afternoon, he noticed this surprising sense of calm washing over him. And he found himself drawn to this complex coding project he'd been avoiding.
Ah, the motivation kicked in.
Exactly. He just sat down and worked on it with this incredible focus he hadn't felt in ages. Ended up finishing it way ahead of schedule. Even got some kudos on his team's Slack channel about it later. Said he felt genuinely productive, not just busy.
That's the goal, right? Real productivity, not just spinning wheels.
Definitely. So let's bring it back to you. What could a detox, even a short one, unlock for you? Imagine just one day where your mind isn't constantly being pulled away by notifications and urges.
What's one benefit you would hope to gain? Maybe feeling calmer, more present with your family, finally tackling that big project you've been putting off.
Yeah, picture what that improved focus could mean in your life. What's one thing you'd achieve?
It's worth thinking about.
Absolutely. And if this conversation is sparking some ideas, maybe motivating you a bit, please do like, subscribe, and share so others can find it too.
We appreciate the support.
Okay, so we know the problem, we know the potential benefits. Now for the how. Chapter 4 gets super practical. Meurisse lays out his 3-step method for actually doing a dopamine detox. What's the roadmap?
Right, this is where the rubber meets the road. He makes it really actionable, breaking it down into 3 clear steps. Step 1 is identify your dopamine triggers.
Which we touched on earlier, knowing what pulls you in.
Exactly. You need to get specific. Is it Instagram? Is it YouTube? Is it checking the news constantly? Is it online shopping? Maybe it's video games. Pinpoint your personal high dopamine, time-sucking activities. Be honest with yourself.
Okay, identify the culprits. What's step 2?
Step 2 is replace them with low-stimulation activities. This is crucial. You don't just stop doing the high dopamine stuff and sit there bored. That's setting yourself up to fail.
Right, you need an alternative.
Yes. Meurisse suggests things that are inherently less stimulating but potentially more rewarding in the long run. Think journaling, reading a physical book, emphasis on physical, no screens, taking a quiet walk outside, meditating, or having a real conversation with someone.
Things that let your brain kind of quiet down.
Precisely. Activities that encourage presence and reflection rather than constant external input.
Makes sense. And that's step 3.
Step 3 is start your day without stimulation. This is a big one for setting the tone. He strongly advises against reaching for your phone first thing in the morning.
Guilty as charged sometimes.
We all are. But he argues that starting your day with email, news, or social media immediately throws your brain into reactive mode and primes it for distraction all day long. Instead, try starting with quiet, maybe some light stretching, hydration, planning your day on paper, anything screen-free.
Okay, identify, replace, and start clean. That sounds doable. Does he talk about, like, different levels of detox?
Yes, and that flexibility is really important. He acknowledges that a full-on 24 or 48-hour hardcore detox, no non-essential tech at all, can be super effective for a quick, powerful reset.
But maybe intimidating for some.
Exactly. So he also proposes limited or partial detoxes. Maybe you just cut out your main trigger, like social media, for 30 days. Or maybe you commit to no screens after 8 p.m. It allows you to tailor the approach to what feels sustainable for you.
That makes it much less daunting. And this whole idea, it builds on other concepts, right? Like dopamine fasting.
It does.
Yeah.
He's definitely building on that concept of dopamine fasting that Dr. Cameron Sipa popularized, especially in Silicon Valley circles, around 2019.
Right, I remember hearing about that.
Yeah, the idea of intentionally abstaining from pleasurable activities to reset your appreciation baseline. Meurisse takes that core idea and provides a more structured, maybe less extreme, and more practical framework for everyday people.
Gotcha. And is there evidence this stuff actually works beyond anecdotes?
There is growing evidence. He references, for example, a 2025 Forbes study looking at people who tried various forms of dopamine detox. It found that around 70% reported noticeable improvements in their focus and concentration after just 1 week.
70% in a week. That's pretty fast feedback.
It suggests that even short periods of intentional reduction can start to yield benefits relatively quickly.
That's really encouraging. Makes it feel worth trying. I heard about a teacher in Toronto. This is 2025 as well.
Okay.
She felt her evening YouTube habit was just eating up all her potential lesson planning time. She'd just fall down rabbit holes.
Been there.
Right. So she tried Meurisse's limited detox idea, cut out YouTube completely for 30 days, and she decided to replace that time with evening walks or sometimes just listening to music.
So identifying and replacing.
Exactly. And she said the difference was remarkable. She felt way less mentally drained in the evenings, her lesson planning became much more efficient and creative, and she even got positive feedback from her students about her renewed energy by the end of that month, around June.
That's fantastic. A real-world win.
Totally. Okay, let's unpack this for you. Listening. Let's try making a quick can't and can list right now.
Good idea.
What's one specific high dopamine activity you'd put on your can't list? Something you'd try to avoid, even just for a day or a week.
And then what's one low-stimulation activity you'd put on your can list to replace it with?
Maybe it's can't. Check newsfeed compulsively, and can. Go for a 15-minute walk without my phone. Just think about one simple swap you could make.
That first step can make all the difference.
Absolutely. And to keep getting these kinds of deep insights and practical tips, please make sure you like, subscribe, and share. It helps us keep these conversations going.
Thanks, everyone.
All right, so you've done the detox, or at least started making changes. Your mind feels clearer. Now what? How do you actually use that focus to get important stuff done? Chapter 5 is all about doing the work and, crucially, overcoming procrastination.
Yeah, this is where the detox translates into actual achievement, because a clear mind is great, but if you don't direct it, you might just end up clearly bored.
Ah, good point. So what's Meurisse's advice for building that discipline after the detox?
His advice centers on channeling that regained focus effectively. It's about building sustainable habits for productivity. He highlights 2 main strategies. First, prioritizing high-impact tasks.
Meaning figure out what really matters.
Exactly. Identify the 20% of activities that will give you 80% of your results, the Pareto principle.
Yeah.
Focus your energy on the tasks that genuinely move the needle towards your significant goals, rather than getting bogged down in busy work or low-value stuff.
Okay, prioritize. What's the second strategy?
The second, and this is super actionable, is using time blocking.
Scheduling specific times for specific tasks.
Precisely. You dedicate specific, uninterrupted blocks of time in your calendar solely for working on those high-impact priorities you identified. No multitasking, no checking email, just focused work during that block.
That sounds intense but effective.
It really is. It combats procrastination head-on because the decision of what to work on and when is already made. You just execute the plan. It's about intentionally structuring your focus.
And this isn't just Meurisse's invention either, right? Time blocking, prioritization. These are established ideas.
Oh, definitely. He's integrating proven productivity techniques into his post-detox framework. He draws on concepts from well-known systems like David Allen's Getting Things Done, GTD, which came out way back in 2001.
Right, GTD is huge on clarifying tasks and priorities.
Exactly. And the effectiveness of time blocking specifically is backed up by research, too. Meurisse points to a 2025 Harvard Business Review study suggesting that time blocking can boost productivity by as much as 25%.
25%, that's a serious increase.
It shows that structuring your time intentionally really pays off. It's not just about working harder, it's about working smarter on the right things at the right time.
That makes total sense. We saw this work really well for an entrepreneur down in Dallas in 2025.
Okay, entrepreneur life definitely needs focus.
For sure. She was struggling to make progress on her startup's marketing plan, a super high-impact task, but one that required deep thinking and kept getting pushed aside by daily fires.
Relatable for any founder.
Totally. So she adopted Meurisse's time-blocking approach, scheduled 2 solid 2-hour marketing plan blocks into her calendar every single day. Phone off, notifications silenced, just pure focus.
Did it stick?
It did. And by protecting that time so fiercely, she was able to develop and launch a really strong campaign within a few weeks. And the results were clear. She saw about a 40% increase in customer inquiries in the second quarter of 2025, directly attributed to that focused effort.
Wow. Direct line from focused work to business results. That's powerful.
Isn't it? So this brings up an important question for you, our listener. What's that one really important, high-impact task you've been putting off? You know the one.
The one that feels a bit daunting, maybe? The one you know you should do, but keep finding reasons not to.
Yeah. Now imagine dedicating a specific block of time to it, even just 1 hour, no distractions allowed. How could that focused time change your approach? What progress could you make?
It's amazing what even 60 minutes of true focus can accomplish.
It really is. Don't miss out on future deep dives where we unpack more ideas like this. Please like, subscribe, and share.
Every bit helps.
Okay, so you've detoxed, you're using time blocking, you're making progress, but the world is still full of distractions. How do you start from sliding back into those old habits? Chapter 6 tackles this: avoiding dopamine relapse. This feels critical.
It's absolutely critical because regaining focus is one thing. Sustaining it long-term in our environment is another challenge altogether. This chapter is all about building the defenses, so to speak.
So what are Meurisse's key strategies for preventing that relapse? How do you make the changes stick?
He offers several practical strategies, but 2 stand out. First, he doubles down on the importance of consistently maintaining low-stimulation mornings.
Back to the morning routine.
Yes, that initial hour or so, screen-free, sets a calm, proactive tone and reinforces the brain's reset each day. It acts like a daily anchor against the tide of digital noise. Making that non-negotiable is huge.
Okay, protect the morning. What else?
Second, and equally vital, is setting clear, ongoing boundaries with technology and other triggers throughout the day.
Boundaries like?
Things like using app timers or blockers on your phone for specific problematic apps. Designating certain times of day, like during meals or the hour before bed, as strictly screen-free zones. Maybe even creating physical no-tech areas in your home, like the bedroom.
So it's about actively managing your environment, not just relying on willpower.
Exactly. Willpower is finite. Boundaries and systems help automate the desired behavior and reduce the constant need to resist temptation. They're not about restriction for its own sake. They're about intentionally protecting your focus and the benefits you've worked hard to gain.
That makes sense, like building guardrails. And this must tie into habit research too, right? Like how habits form and break.
Absolutely. Meurisse explicitly connects this to habit formation principles. He references foundational work like Charles Duhigg's The Power of Habit from 2012.
Ah, yeah, the cue routine reward loop.
Precisely. Understanding that loop is key to changing habits. By setting boundaries, you're actively disrupting the cues, like seeing your phone, and the routines, like mindlessly scrolling, that lead to the unwanted dopamine hit. You're building new loops.
And relapse is a real risk if you don't have these systems.
It is. He cites, I think it was a 2025 Wired article that noted something like 60% of people who do some kind of digital detox eventually relapse if they don't establish ongoing boundaries and new habits.
60%. Wow. Okay, so the follow-through is essential.
It really highlights that the detox is the start, not the finish line. The boundaries are what make it sustainable.
Definitely need those guardrails. I heard about a graphic designer over in Seattle, 2025 again.
Okay.
She really took Meurisse's advice on boundaries to heart. Her big one was implementing a strict no phone for the first hour of the day rule.
Non-negotiable.
The protected morning.
Yep. Instead of diving straight into client emails or Instagram, she'd use that hour to journal, sketch ideas, or just enjoy her coffee peacefully.
How did that impact her work?
She said it made a huge difference in her creative process. She started her projects feeling calmer, more centered, and more prepared. Her clients noticed the improved quality and turnaround times, and it actually contributed to her getting a promotion by mid-year.
Fantastic. Small boundary, big impact.
Exactly. So thinking about you listening now, to make these changes really last in your life, what's one small sustainable boundary you could realistically set for yourself, starting maybe even tomorrow? It doesn't have to be huge. Maybe it's just putting your phone in another room while you eat dinner, or turning off notifications for one specific app that really sucks you in.
Yeah, think about one tiny step you could take to build that guardrail and protect your focus. What would it be?
Every little bit helps build momentum.
Totally. We're getting close to the end of our deep dive here. If you've enjoyed this journey through dopamine detox, please, one last reminder to like, subscribe, and share for more updates.
Thanks for sticking with us.
Okay, final chapter. Chapter 7 takes this whole conversation to another level. It connects managing dopamine not just to focus, but to building a truly meaningful and purposeful life. How does Meurisse make that leap?
This is where it all culminates, really. Meurisse argues that reclaiming your focus isn't just about being more efficient or productive in a vacuum. It's about freeing up your mental energy and attention so you can consciously direct it towards what truly matters to you.
So, linking focus to values.
Exactly. Once you've quieted the noise of constant, cheap dopamine hits, you create the space to actually reflect on your deeper values and long-term goals. What kind of life do you want to build? What impact do you want to have?
And the detox helps you pursue those things.
Yes. He encourages using that reclaimed focus and motivation to actively engage in meaningful tasks. This could be anything: starting a creative project you've always dreamed of, deepening your relationships, volunteering for a cause you believe in, learning a new skill.
Things that provide a deeper, more sustained sense of fulfillment than just scrolling.
Precisely. It's about shifting from chasing fleeting external validation to cultivating internal satisfaction and purpose. It's about building a life, not just optimizing your schedule.
That's a really inspiring way to frame it. Does this idea that purpose and meaning contribute to well-being and even productivity have roots in psychology?
Oh, absolutely. This strongly echoes principles from positive psychology. Meurisse is drawing on the work of people like Martin Seligman, who's been a pioneer in studying human flourishing since the 2000s.
Seligman's work on PERMA and well-being.
Exactly. Purpose and engagement are key components of his model for a flourishing life. Seligman and others have shown that having a sense of purpose is strongly linked to happiness, resilience, and even physical health.
And does it link back to productivity, too?
It does. Meurisse references a 2025 study from the Journal of Happiness Studies. It found that individuals who reported a strong sense of purpose in their lives were about 50% more likely to maintain high levels of sustained productivity compared to those lacking that sense of purpose.
50% more likely. So purpose actually fuels focus and productivity.
It seems to. When your work feels connected to something bigger than just the task itself, the motivation becomes much more intrinsic and resilient.
That's incredibly powerful. And you see this connection play out. There was a nurse in Chicago around 2025.
Okay.
She's feeling a bit burnt out, disconnected. Inspired by Meurisse's ideas about aligning actions with values, she decided to start volunteering a few hours a week at a community health clinic serving underserved populations.
Connecting back to her core values as a nurse.
Precisely. And she said it was transformative. It wasn't just more work. It felt deeply meaningful and re-energized her connection to her profession. That boosted sense of purpose actually improved her job satisfaction at the hospital, too.
Did it lead to other things?
Yeah, her renewed engagement and sense of purpose were noticeable, and it led to her taking on a leadership role in a hospital initiative by July of that year. Her pursuit of meaning directly fueled her professional growth.
Amazing example of the connection.
Isn't it? What's so fascinating here is how managing your attention, getting control back from those dopamine triggers, can genuinely unlock the mental space to pursue deeper meaning. So for you, listening, what's one value-driven goal, big or small, that you could start moving towards now that you're thinking about having a clearer mind and maybe some renewed motivation?
Maybe it's mentoring someone, starting that passion project, spending more quality time truly present with loved ones.
Yeah. What's one step you could take towards a more purposeful life, fueled by better focus?
Worth pondering.
Definitely. And there you have it, our deep dive into Thibaut Meurisse's Dopamine Detox. We've journeyed from understanding dopamine as motivation, not just pleasure, to seeing how overstimulation hijacks us.
To exploring the real benefits of a detox, the practical steps to take, strategies for doing the work and overcoming procrastination.
And crucially, how to avoid relapse and sustain those gains by setting boundaries. And finally, connecting it all to building a more meaningful life aligned with your values.
It's really about understanding your own brain, identifying those external forces pulling at your attention, and taking intentional steps to reclaim control.
Exactly. It's about resetting your brain's baseline, not just breaking a few bad habits so you can focus on what truly matters.
Which leads to a final thought, perhaps. In a world that is constantly, relentlessly vying for your attention, how will you intentionally design your environment, your habits, your days to protect your most valuable resource, your focus?
That is the crucial question. A powerful thought to leave you with. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into dopamine detox. We really hope you found it insightful.
Yeah, I hope it sparks some ideas for you.
You can find more deep dives just like this one wherever you get your podcasts or, of course, on BookPodCastZone.
Keep exploring,
Until next time.
keep learning, and keep diving deep.